Imagine for a second that you're looking out your car window
Yeah.
at this massive, incredibly complex neon-lit city.
Right.
There's traffic pulsing everywhere, towering skyscrapers, just millions of people going about their day. But the GPS on your dashboard, it insists you're parked in the middle of a barren, empty dirt field.
Yeah, totally disconnected from what's actually there.
Exactly. And you tap the glass, you restart the system, it recalibrates, but it still just says empty field. That really uncanny, kind of unsettling feeling of a navigation system utterly failing to process the reality right in front of your eyes. That is exactly what modern science and philosophy are experiencing right now.
Oh, absolutely. It's a cultural crisis of calibration, really.
Welcome to this week's Deep Dive on Beyond the Shell. We're doing our weekly synthesis for the week ending June 19th, 2026.
Yeah.
And today, we are stepping back to look at the entire board.
We really are. It's a big one.
Yeah, we are taking you on a deep dive that connects Sunday's systemic astrology outlook with the week's intense research into boundary protocols, the Jandera stone, the Van Allen belt, and this radical realization that your own nervous system is the literal edge of reality.
Which is such a massive shift from how we're taught to see things. Because the tension you're describing with that broken GPS, it comes from the fact that for centuries, humanity has been handed this very specific, unquestioned map.
The dead machine universe.
Exactly, the dead machine universe. The core assumption of that map is that the cosmos is just this cold mechanical void, right? Like billiard balls, just endlessly bouncing off each other in empty space.
And in that model, consciousness is just, a random spark.
Yeah, just an accidental spark in the dark, meaningless heat coming off an engine. But that mechanical map is actively failing now.
It's failing under the weight of new evidence, right? Because for a long time, it seemed to work. Like we built bridges, split the atom, launched rockets.
Right. It's great for building a toaster or a rocket, but it has simply stopped explaining the actual room we're standing in. And that's why these ancient symbols are flooding back into our culture right now.
Which is fascinating because people look at that and think, oh, we're just regressing, like the modern world is too chaotic, so we're retreating into primitive superstitions.
But we aren't, not at all. We are reaching the hard limits of a purely materialist framework. And that failure is exactly why the ancient cosmic egg model is resurfacing.
You mean like the Hindu Brahmanda or the Orphic egg?
Yeah, and the Norse enclosures, too. These aren't primitive bedtime stories returning. They are necessary, highly functional memory systems. The cosmic egg provides a working map for orientation.
Okay, but let's break that down. Because to a modern ear, comparing the infinite universe to an egg just sounds like, obscure poetry.
Well, think about what an egg actually is. It's a language for containment, for interface. It shows the universe not as an endless empty box, but as an architecture of nested shells.
Like a Russian nesting doll.
Exactly. You have an outer boundary, an inner boundary, a core, and every layer has a membrane that conditions whatever energy passes through it.
Oh, wait, are we saying these ancient cultures actually had, peer-reviewed quantum physics?
Yeah.
Or just that they possessed a metaphor that successfully captured the structural shape of reality better than our modern dead machine model?
It's the latter, but it's incredibly precise. They weren't doing quantum math on chalkboards, right? But they were mapping the geometry of human experience. They understood that reality is observer conditioned.
Which modern physics is literally just catching up to.
Yeah. Physicists are now forced to use terms like holographic or entropy bound or quantum gravity to describe these exact same boundary pressure.
Wait, so if this nested shell architecture isn't just abstract philosophy, we should be able to point to a literal physical shell surrounding the Earth, right?
And we can. We observe it every single day. The Van Allen radiation belts.
Okay, yes. But science usually just treats the Van Allen belts as, magnetic anomalies. Space weather.
Right, just distant cosmic weather. But if you look at them through the beyond the shell framework, you have to reframe them entirely. They are shimmering walls between realms.
Shimmering walls. I like that.
Because the cosmic environment out there is harsh, it's infinite, it's highly entropic. But the Earth is a fragile, contained terrarium. So the Van Allen belts act as a threshold ecology.
So instead of viewing the Earth as just a rock floating in an empty void, the Van Allen belts act like a planetary pair of polarized sunglasses, or actually almost like a highly restrictive customs gate.
A customs gate, yes, that is the perfect analogy. It's a membrane that only lets in the exact bandwidth of radiation necessary for life to function. It regulates exactly what passes through.
Okay, so if the Earth has this massive physical customs gate in the sky just to survive the cosmic fire hose. What is the equivalent customs gate for a human being?
And this is where we get to the most profound realization of the week, because it shifts everything. The true frontier isn't up in the sky, it is internal.
Your mind.
Your mind is the edge of the cosmic egg.
Wow. Wait, let that sink in for a second. Your mind is the edge of the cosmic egg.
Because think about the mechanics of it. If reality is made of pure, infinite information...
Which Erdene physics models are suggesting.
Exactly. If it's infinite information, a finite biological nervous system would instantly drown in it. You cannot drink from a fire hose that never turns off.
So consciousness isn't just a passive, neutral window that looks out at the world.
No, it is a biological compression system. It's a safety filter. It's the threshold gate.
We looked at some really dense models this week, right? Like algorithmic idealism, causal set consciousness.
Physical theories of intelligence, yeah. And what they all point to is that the firmament isn't a physical dome in the sky. The firmament is the human nervous system.
Intelligence is basically a conservation discipline.
Exactly. It spends the absolute least amount of energy possible to extract meaning while actively avoiding dissipative overload. It's an observer safety architecture.
Wait, so bringing this down to, like, border traffic, when you get a sudden feeling of intrusive dread or experience a bizarre synchronicity or a really vivid dream, are those just anomalous pieces of information getting held up in customs at the edge of our biological filter?
That is exactly what they are. When you have a profound synchronicity, that is raw, uncompressed, cosmic information knocking at the customs gate of your nervous system.
And your biology is just frantically trying to translate it into a package you can survive.
Right, stepping it down into an emotion or a shiver down your spine so you don't overload.
Okay, so if the mind is a biological filter mirroring the cosmic filter, is there historical proof that humanity once fully understood this overlap?
Oh, absolutely. And we don't have to look far. We examine a Dendera stone this week.
Right, the 5,000-year-old artifact from ancient Egypt.
Yeah, from the Temple of Hathor. Now, traditionally, historians just know it for mapping the original 48 constellations.
Like a legacy sky map.
Exactly. But when you look at it through this macrocosm and microcosm lens we've been discussing, it doubles as an anatomical map of the human nervous system.
Which is wild.
Yeah.
So they understood the structural overlap between the celestial wheel and the biological body.
They did. And it means ancient sites like the Temple of Hathor weren't just, empty worship rooms built for sky deities. They were built as operating diagrams.
Operating diagrams.
Yes. The floor, the massive columns, the ceiling, the star routes, they formed one coherent model of how cosmic energy filters down into the human vessel.
So walking into the Temple of Hathor was less like walking into a modern church
Yeah.
and more like walking inside a giant walk-through schematic of a microchip.
Oh, that's exactly what it was.
Like it shows you exactly how the universe is wired to your own spine.
Yes. The Dendera stone acts as a visual path. It takes you from a flat, two-dimensional zodiac diagram and guides you into understanding a toroidal field.
The toroidal field, meaning that self-sustaining magnetic donut shape.
Right, representing the complete three-dimensional architecture of the cosmic egg. The temple physically oriented you inside those nested shells.
But if the universe is a structured interface, and these temples are the schematics, who is operating the machinery? Because this gets into the biggest misconception about ancient mythology, right?
The absolute biggest. We are taught that the gods were literal characters, personalities throwing lightning bolts and having petty arguments.
Sky soap operas.
Yeah, but they were never meant to be understood that way. The gods were celestial job titles.
Job titles.
Yes.
Wow.
When you stop asking who they were and start asking what job they performed, the myths instantly transform into a technical schematic for the cosmic egg.
This completely rewrites how we read mythology.
Yeah.
Are you saying Mount Olympus or the Egyptian pantheon is basically an IT department?
Functionally, yes.
And these gods are just the ancient labels for the software protocols routing the data of reality.
That is exactly what they are. Think about Mercury or Hermes. He's not a winged man delivering mail. He is the messenger function.
Signal routing.
Right. Signal routing, translation, threshold crossing. He is the protocol that allows information to travel safely from the macro reality into your microconsciousness.
Okay, what about Saturn? Because the classical depiction is like a tyrant in the sky eating his own children, which is terrifying.
Terrifying as a character, sure. But as a job title, Saturn is the limit office.
Wow.
He represents the thermodynamic principles of compression, boundary enforcement, delay, physical form.
So without the Saturn protocol, Abstract energy never solidifies into physical matter.
Exactly. You need extreme compression to build a tangible world. It's not a cruel punishment. It's an architectural necessity.
And the sources also talk about physical gates,
Yeah.
right? Like the gates of Cancer and Capricorn.
Yeah, they aren't literal wooden doors in the sky. They are transit architecture for controlled passage between layers.
So they function exactly like a login screen or a handoff protocol in a software system.
Precisely. They manage the data traffic as it steps down into our local environment.
Which perfectly bridges us to Sunday's systemic astrology outlook. Because how do you actually use these boundary protocols in your own life?
Well, this framework entirely reframes astrology. It strips away all the fatalism and fear-mongering.
Right. It's not a mystical tool for predicting tomorrow's mood.
No, it is a structural blueprint of reality. We call it systemic astrology. The 12 astrological houses are literal domains of embodiment.
Nested life fields.
Yes, they are the specific areas where abstract cosmic energy crystallizes into tangible behavioral reality.
So whether we're analyzing personal energy shifts or looking at macro geopolitical dynamics, we are simply watching these boundary protocols, these gods in action.
Stepping the cosmic energy down through the filter of the houses into human life.
This is so empowering. It means when you look at an astrology chart, you aren't looking at a script that traps you. You're looking at a weather map of the boundary pressures your own nervous system is about to process.
Exactly. You see a heavy Saturn transit coming, and you don't panic about being punished. You recognize your local environment is entering a period of compression and delay, so you work with that friction to build something durable.
You understand the protocol.
Right. You have personal agency within the architecture.
So when we synthesize all of this, a really cohesive cinematic picture emerges. We are living inside a highly structured, partially ordered process.
We are not accidental wanderers in a dead machine. The cosmic egg is a real, enduring user interface.
In your own nervous system is the sensor. It's the very boundary where the universe renders itself into an experience.
And the old maps are returning because we finally have the vocabulary to read them again. We are bridging ancient sky manuals with the absolute bleeding edge of quantum physics.
It's incredible. Which leaves us with a mind-blowing question to carry into the weekend.
Oh, this is the big one.
If your nervous system is the customs checkpoint of reality, and the ancient gods are just the boundary protocols managing the traffic, then who or what is generating the signal from the outside?
That is the ultimate question at the edge of the shell.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. Have a great week.